So moving on from those three themes, I just want to affirm again, we have seen here that many interfaith organizations have been developed at different levels of society. There are many, if one goes on the internet and does searches, many local groups are working together to provide mutual understanding that leads to the ability then to address local problems. Colleges and university students have started programs for the same reasons. National and international organizations promote peace and address human needs. One sign of hope that has been mentioned are the statistics related to the high proportions of college-age students who are actively serving in their communities and seeking religious engagement. I see this as a huge opportunity for all of our faiths. I come from a position where I was working with the undergraduate age student, and it's an age that is largely ignored by our faiths and our faith traditions. So I see there a large opportunity to pull in their interest for religion and faith and tied into a desire to serve, that each of our faiths perhaps can take an opportunity to reach out to these people and to do it also in a way that's interfaith, looking at the example of the Interfaith Youth Corps. I'm going to take a step, I'm sorry. So, as it has already been said, that perhaps a lot of our hope relies in our children and young adults. One concern that I have, not only maybe for younger people, but for ourselves, is that we'll be simply overwhelmed by the situation and the immensity of our world's problems. I had to face this a little bit about 2 years ago. I was sitting around the table with our three older children, and our daughter Anna was 12 at the time. We have kind of a family habit of listening to National Public Radio, which in the United States is constantly providing wonderful, balanced information about what's going on politically at the local, national, and international level. So the kids are constantly hearing what's going on in the world in the car, and it was playing while I was making dinner. And so we turned off the news, and our daughter just kind of started to despair. You know, she said, "Mommy, you know, our environment is suffering. Our education system is falling apart. People don't have the health care they need, and they can't afford housing. You know, what kind of life and world do I have to look forward to living in the future?" So, you know, after a really long pause and a deep breath, I took the time to really encourage her about her own gifts, to help her recognize what she had in her life, her education, the fact that she even knew that these problems existed and was aware of them. And most importantly, I said to her, and I say to all of you today, you know, choose one area to work on. Choose a simple start, as we've heard here today. Find a place to start if you haven't engaged in interfaith action yet. And if you have already, continue to challenge your energy into your vocation on behalf of interfaith action. For many years, Anna has been concerned about the environment, and she's consistently said she's going to be a marine biologist. So I'm hoping that in that way she'll address some issue related to our environment. She has a lot to offer our world, as do our sons. For me personally, I think my commitment, I read a book a few weeks ago entitled Half the Sky, which was given to me in March, and I'm disappointed now that I took so long to read it. But the book argues for an approach to development that focuses on the needs of women and children in particular. And it provides stunning statistics on how women and children are the primary people who are suffering from issues related to poverty, lack of education, faults in healthcare systems, and so on. The title of the book comes from a proverb which points out that women hold up half the sky. So I think that my personal commitment will be to continue to learn about and think about how the needs and power of women and children in particular can be utilized and addressed via interfaith actions. So I invite you all, too, to think of some area where you can continue or perhaps spark your actions. So this conference is aimed at bringing people together and spurring actions from the ideas that we have shared. The U.S. Embassy itself has committed itself to specific actions on behalf of this bridge building construction. We encourage you to continue what we've started here by visiting the new wiki website the Embassy has created dedicated to interreligious dialogue. The address is bridgebuilders.wikispaces.com. Maybe we could at some point type up a quick slide and get that on there. I'm not sure if you know, do you know the thing? And we could add that to that slide. The best advantage of a wiki page is that it's a collaborative website to which anyone can contribute. So we have started the web page, but we ask you to pitch in and create an online discussion board, alert us to upcoming events for our events calendar, and keep in touch and keep involved. The U.S. Embassy to the Holy See is also very excited to see all the young adults and students who are here today, and we just launched also a Facebook page, which is linked to the Embassy's homepage. So you can link up to that and find information on the continuing work of the Embassy. As I said, for all of our communities, as we're reaching out to young adults, it's so important to not be afraid of using this technology, to really just, we're facing new realities, and we have to use new tools and structures to face these new realities to get ourselves connected. I would like to take this opportunity on behalf of the U.S. Embassy to the Holy See and the Gregorian University to thank all of the panelists who are here, the moderators, Joshua, our keynote speaker, and all of the participants here today for your work and your presence. We really appreciate your interest and concern and hope for your continued action on behalf of this work. So, challenges remain related to this work of bridge building. How do we inspire and motivate people not only to build bridges, but to cross over them and use them once they are constructed? Where should we build? How do we make sure that the construction is stable and long-lasting? Crossing bridges, for some people, surely involves risk, and they need to overcome fears. Bridges themselves may be weak, and the view from the other side might be difficult to accept. For those of us who engaged in the work of bridge building today, we must recognize that not only do we construct bridges, but sometimes, even in a more challenging way, we are the bridges. We live on the bridges. We are the walking contradictions. There is a saying in Spanish that is often used by immigrants that claims that they live con un pie en cada lado, with one foot on each side, in which one feels at home, you know, perhaps on no place, with no place to stand, right? And you're kind of living in this boundary between the two sides. It can be a very difficult situation to be in, but people who live as bridges are so needed in our society today. As Rabbi Stone quoted Rabbi Tarfon earlier today, it is not our duty to finish all the work, but neither are you at liberty to desist from it. May each one of us, men and women, young and old, people of various faiths and perhaps of no faith at all, may we in our everyday lives truly become animatori. Grazie.